You don't heal your throat chakra issues in your throat chakra. All your throat
Mm.
chakra issues begin in the root chakra, folks. It's about the releasing the parts of you that are not you and have nothing to do
Mm-hmm.
with your soul's journey so you can discover the truth of your being. If you set goals, you're pointing, your focus is in a direction. Who are you to think you know what you're meant for?
Hello, beautiful souls. It is Sophia from Sacred You. Thank you so much for being here. Before we dive into today's podcast, I do have a small request from my heart. If our conversations ever resonate with you or have supported you on your journey, please subscribe to our channel or like this video. It helps us grow Sacred You, welcome more powerful voices into this space, and keep you connected to everything we share. Thank you for walking this path with us. Let us begin with today's conversation.
Welcome to today's episode of Pathways to Wellbeing with Sacred You. I am your host for today, Tywanah Evette, also known by my Native American name, Thunderbird Rising. And I have the pleasure, the honor, and the privilege of sitting and having a discussion with Cheryl Stelte today. So, Cheryl, I do not want to take anything away from you because you are chock full of wonderful. So, please introduce yourself.
Oh, thank you, Tawana. Honestly, the pleasure, the honor, the privilege is truly all mine. And to be here with you and just a part of all that you are doing in the world, helping humanity grow and evolve and expand at this pivotal point for humanity as souls in human form, I am absolutely thrilled to be here with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So, tell us, Cheryl. Tell us about Cheryl. You're a spiritual coach, a master healer, a speaker, a best-selling author, all of these amazing things. But who is Cheryl?
Cheryl grew up in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. And it's people back then, I don't know. I don't, I think I had to grow up in Alberta to know who I am not. Let's put it that way, to know who I am not. And at the age of 28, moved to the West Coast on Vancouver Island. And spirituality, woo, wasn't even a word back then. That was a long time ago. And I had a profound transformative spiritual experience on the beach with my deceased brother's spirit, which opened
Mm.
me up to spirituality. It was like the doors flung open, and oh my goodness, I couldn't have imagined where that would lead me. And that was 32 years ago. Never in a million years. I actually resisted doing and being all that I am today. Resisted it
Mm-hmm.
big time. It could always be a side gig, and I would continue
Yes.
to grow and evolve, but never ever thought I would write books. I've written 3 books. Never thought any of this. And people used to tell me early on, you're a healer, you're a spiritual teacher. Coach wasn't a word back then either. And
No,
I would just say,
not
yeah,
unless we were referring to sports.
yes, yeah, yeah. So here I am today with you, and I'm just so grateful.
Thank
Grateful to
you.
be
Thank
doing the
you
work
so
I
much.
do. So grateful to be alive at this time, at this pivotal
Yes.
time in our growth as a human species.
Yes. It is a pivotal time in our growth. And those of us who have gone through our awakenings and had these experiences and are remembering who we are and why we're here are the ones out here really doing the work, the work. So share with me, how impactful was it when your brother met you on the beach? What was that like?
Oh my goodness. I never felt so much love in my life. I was laying there and my friend was practicing kinesiology and she was doing some kind of clearing. And this was very brand new to me. And suddenly it was a huge ball of pure white light, so bright,
Mm.
right above me, just hovering there. And all of a sudden I knew it was my deceased brother's spirit, and he had taken his life. And
Mm.
and I'm waiting for her to stop talking so I could tell her what was going on. And she's just talking a mile a minute. Is it this? Is it that? And she's doing all this muscle testing and
Right.
clear
The
this person, that person, all this. And then she said, "Oh, it's your brother." And then she said, "He's here." And I said, "I know." She had never channeled anybody, and he spoke to me through her. It was just amazing. The amount of love I felt, I just had tears streaming right down my.
yes.
And the bottom line was his message was for me to start meditating. Whoa, meditate. I grew up Roman Catholic. Meditate. And that just opened the doors to a spiritual journey I could not have anticipated. And before that, it was like my life had just fallen apart. My 13-year
Yes.
marriage, I ended that to a what we now know as a covert narcissistic alcoholic.
Narcissist.
All right, here we go. And while I felt so much more peace and felt, but I didn't know who I was. I didn't, it was, and I didn't know what this life was about, but I was grateful to God. I haven't been to church in a lot
Yes.
of years, but I found myself in such deep gratitude. And that was my prayer. Thank you, God, for
Mm.
my life the way it is. And I didn't even know anything specifically. I just was grateful. Somehow I
Right.
knew I was being loved. And then, like you, I started practicing shamanism. I was introduced to shamanism, and that sent me into, and my meditation was always separate. So I had these two journeys that crossed and just
Yes.
experiencing and healing myself. And it all was about healing in the beginning. And then it became to be about empowerment. I noticed I wasn't so shy anymore. I started to know myself, and I'm still discovering who I truly am. Oh, yeah,
Yes.
throat chakra, throat chakra. Oh,
Because we both know, growing up in the time that you and I grew up, this was shut. Kids are to be seen, not heard. What happens in this house stays in this house. Shut up. Shut up. It was always go read a book, silence us. It didn't matter what we had going on, what we needed to share, what we were excited about, what may have happened that we were not excited about. It was shoot like a fly. And no, we did not have the access to the information that we have today in order for us to have these great experiences and these awakenings. We would have thought, we would have checked, let's face it, 40 years ago, we both would have checked ourselves in 40 years ago, because society would have convinced us that we were seeing things, hearing things, and we were something was wrong when everything was actually right. I had a similar experience to you. I could smell my mother, I could sense her, and I knew what she wanted me to do. She's the head of my spirit team. But I couldn't see her yet. I didn't remember that I could see. I had buried that under the layers of trauma. And I was sitting meditating one morning in the recliner, because I always make the joke, I have more back hardware in my back than a hardware store. So I sit in upright in the chair and meditate. And I opened my eyes and my mother was standing there. So I fully. I can feel the love that you felt in those moments. Share with us your books, please. What was that like?
I'd be happy to. I was guided on a spiritual retreat that I did, a silent retreat for myself, although it was guided by my spiritual teacher at the time. And at the end of that retreat, I was so strongly guided. I was in the state of oneness, all the wonderful things that going inward for 7 days without living in our, what we call normal, what our familiar world. And I was guided to write a book. And I thought that book I wanted to label it Living from Your Deathbed. And I thought, I've never written a book. I don't even consider myself a writer. But even as I say that now, I think that's not true at all. I loved writing in grade 10. When I was 15, we had to keep a journal in English class, and we had to write up to 5 entries per day, but only one would get. I loved that. I loved writing, but I never thought of myself as professional. So I hired somebody to help me write the book. I realized people don't want to buy death. They don't want to buy the thought of death. They're afraid of it. It moves them into fear, separation. And just because I was there and felt the benefit of living from your deathbed, because I used to meditate, I'd go forward to my deathbed and I think, how do I want to feel on my deathbed around this situation? So making big choices. We're going to be facing the music on our deathbed before we pass on. But anyway, so I was told that is not going to sell. So then I'd paid all this money and I'm going to write a book, and it's not what I thought. So I opened up to it. And the one thing I did not want to write about was the throat chakra, because I thought I had more throat chakra issues than anybody else. And all my clients had throat chakra issues. But I'd helped them. And what I had realized over the years, you don't heal your throat chakra issues in your throat chakra. All your throat chakra issues begin in the root chakra, folks. They all begin in the root. All that energy rides up and then it's stuck.
The root and the sacral, and it gets stuck.
Yeah. And so you get it, but most people don't. And that book was such an amazing journey, just like all 3 of my books. And you only see 2 of them here in the background. My third one, From Block to Powerful, is not in my background. But anyway, not right now. So that book opened up a whole new world. And it was interesting because it was published at the very beginning of COVID, the pandemic. So I couldn't go to bookstores. I couldn't do all that normal stuff. And I was not on social media. So it was quite the learning curve to get myself on social media. It's still a learning curve to me. And then
it is for all of us.
Yeah. And then I started working with coaches, and these coaches were finding me. And that's what led me to write my second book, Client Magnet, The Coach's Guide to Attract Ideal Clients through Spiritual Awareness, really through spiritual practices. And I wrote that book because these coaches had come to work with me who, were doing similar or different work, and they weren't getting clients. Like, I was like, whoa, how do you keep going? Kind of thing. And they're asking me, so what are you doing? When I was meeting some of these through this publishing group. And so because I can see energy, I could do chakra readings and I could see where they were out of alignment, what their superpowers were. And within just a matter of weeks, they had groups formed, they had clients, and they were off to the races. And I thought, oh, I need to write a second book on this. This is important. And so I wrote Client Magnet, and it's my biggest seller. It's my biggest selling book, the Client Magnet book. And all 3 of my books are filled with various practices. And then the opportunity came along to write my third book, From Blocked to Powerful, the spiritual guide to unlocking inner clarity and authentic power. And I thought, I felt I experienced this book as my legacy book. The first primarily meditations, but this book brings in so many different practices, including shamanic practices and stories and things that I don't share publicly, that I don't share with most of my clients. It depends on the
Right.
level people are at. But I was doing an advanced program. I had a number of women that wanted to work with me, and I knew they were all ready for a higher level. When I start working with people, I always start one-on-one. I'm all about going deep.
I go to the root chakra first, and I want to pull that tree up by the deep roots. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, I help people go deeper than you've ever been before. So I really
Yes.
work with primarily mature women who have done a lot of personal work, especially spiritual work, and help you go deeper and discover the truth of who you truly are. And so that book was based, and I did an advanced 9-month program that ended with a personal retreat, with a live retreat with these women.
Ooh.
And it was just so cool to write the book as I was ending that program. It was just so awesome. And so those are my 3 books. I could say I doubt I'll write another one, but I have to say I don't know. I absolutely don't know. There's so much about life right now. I don't know. And
Yes.
so thank you for
A
asking.
lot of us. Absolutely. Absolutely. I just took a little sneak and put your book in my cart so that I can get it because I am so interested in reading it. Oh my goodness. I am excited. But no, we don't know if the divine is going to place another assignment similar to the others on our plate. But people like you and I live moment to moment because we're always listening to what's around us to see what we need to pull from. Am I right? Is that how you operate as well?
I would love to say I do it 100% of the time, but I'm not
Oh,
able. And
we know
it really is
100%.
about presence and being. I will catch myself planning, thinking about the future. That's where a lot of people go into the past. I go more into the future, plan, get excited, and then I go, but wait, I don't know. And then I come back to just presence and being present in the moment and touching into my inner knowing. And then, oh, okay, then I can make a decision now for what's in front of me right now. And then
Yes.
move forward. It's so much about setting goals are great. But last year, not this last year, but this last year, I wasn't even on social media at all. But I posted, it's not about setting goals. When I did that high level program, if you set goals, you're pointing, your focus is in a direction. Who are you to think you know what you're meant for? If I can't believe those words are coming out of my mouth, but that's
I
who are
am
you to
so glad
think
they
you
did.
know?
I am
And
so glad they did.
it's about the releasing the parts of you that are not you and have nothing to do
Mm-hmm.
with your soul's journey, so you can discover the truth of your being. And everyone that works with me discovers their unimaginable self. You can't
Yes.
imagine who you're meant
No,
to be, what you're here for.
no, no. I agree with you fully. I went from being an executive assistant to presidents of corporate, a C-suite level executive assistant, even worked for White House appointees. And when this came up, I'm like, Mom, are you sure? Here she is telling me from the other side, from the ancestral plane, that this is your calling, this is your purpose. And she did that. I, like you, experienced, I was not married. Goodness, we did not get married, with a covert narcissist, and attempted to take my life because he had beaten and bruised me so bad psychologically that I felt like I was taking up the air of someone who was worth something. And so I did try to take my life, and I went in the woods and I turned my phone off, and my daughter had an inkling and she called the other daughter and said, hack mom's phone, turn the location on. I can't reach her. And it went from there, but they found me in the woods. I don't know who, how, what, where, or why. And she told me that's not my business. However, the experience that I had, because I told my daughter I went somewhere, but they didn't allow me to recall where I had gone until I opened my eyes and saw her. And they took me to the ancestors' plane. And my mother and my stepfather were standing there at a tree line with a doorway. In a doorway, I could see the light from the other side, and told me, people are waiting for you. You have to go back. So never in a million years did I ever believe that I would have announced a year and a half ago, hey, world, I'm a medium and I'm a healer and I do this and I do this. And then I had another experience with my Native American great-great-grandfather, chief of the Shinnecock Natives. Shinnecock is the Hamptons. So that is my bloodline, their land. And his recent experience took me into a 3-day integration of crying. I could not stop crying. And that's when he crowned me and told me I was chosen in the bloodline to be a shamanic healer, a high priestess, and a spiritual guide. And I was to immediately act like it. And then he integrated within me. Well, suddenly I noticed all this boldness and confidence and things that I didn't have before coming out. People are saying nasty things and I'm sharp as don't have to use a nasty word, don't have to use a nasty tone, can do it with a smile on my face. Correct them. It has been so refreshing to find somebody who's had similar experiences, maybe not under the same conditions. However, the experience is still pure love. And that's what we're here for. That's what you and I are here for. Pure love. To show people the highest vibration available, which is pure unconditional love. And I must say, I have thoroughly loved talking to you today, learning about your books, learning about your awakening. And we must keep in touch. We must, because there is power between us that people are not ready for. So if you could give our viewers one message before we close, what would it be?
That we are all powerful beyond belief, powerful beyond what we can imagine. And I don't mean power in the old sense of power over or that masculine power, but the divine feminine power, which is love, which is truth, and which is very calm and settled within the being, that you are powerful beyond what you can imagine.
I love that. It is so true. I love that. And I thank you so much for your time today, Cheryl. It has been an honor. I can't say enough amazing things about you. My heart is so full of joy and gratitude speaking with you today and just sharing this intimate space. So everyone, please click on Cheryl's links. They're right below this broadcast. And please, by all means, go get her books. What are you waiting on? Trust me, they will come in handy. So that is today's Pathways to Wellbeing podcast episode with Sacred You. I am your host, saying we will see you later, and thank you, Cheryl. I honor
Many
you.
Many thanks.
We wrap up today's episode of the Pathways to Wellbeing podcast. I would really like to thank Cheryl Stelte for such an interesting and thought-provoking conversation. As Cheryl so beautifully reminded us, we are all far more powerful than we can imagine, not through power over others, but through quiet, unwavering power of divine love, inner truth, and authentic presence. Now, if you would like to explore Cheryl's work more deeply, be sure to check out her books, including Throat Chakra Healing and From Blocked to Powerful, the spiritual guide for unlocking inner clarity and authentic power. You will find the links to her books and all the other resources in the episode description below. At Sacred You, we are passionate about creating spaces where women from all around the world can support, uplift, and empower each other. Visit our website and check out all our upcoming workshops, events, community offerings, and our Soul Seeker quiz. We are at www.sacredu, that is the letter U, .love. And as always, if this episode spoke to you, please subscribe to our podcast, share it with a friend, or leave us a review. As Cheryl shared, the journey is not about becoming more. It's about uncovering who you have always been. And remember, your soul already carries everything you need. Release what no longer belongs to you. Trust the wisdom within and allow your authentic light to shine. Until next time, stay grounded, stay inspired, stay connected, and keep walking your pathway to well-being. From our heart to yours, thank you.